Hey everybody, welcome back. It has been a long time. Sorry about that. Had a lot of life update things happen. I bought a house in November, got a girlfriend, been doing a lot of other things over the holiday break, was exploring non-Marvel Champions games in my collection and picked it back up towards the end of December, early January. Anyways, today we have a very exciting hero review, or not review, but reveal. And just get a look at that thumbnail. This hero art is so fantastic. I really like this hero art. Anyways, we're just going to briefly go through the article together, and then I'm going to talk about some of the deck building hooks for Shuri, I think. So we're going to go right to her identity card here. On our hero side, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. Hand size is 5, hit points are 11. Wakanda trait only. Response: after Black Panther uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on one Black Panther upgrade you control. So there's no limit on this, no limit once per phase, once per round. So a lot of readies is going to be the gist of, I think, her game plan. On our alter ego side, 4 recovery. Again, great alter ego artwork as well. Genius trait, Wakanda trait, Inventor, action, exhaust Shuri, search your deck for a Black Panther or tech upgrade and play it, reducing its resource cost by 2, limit once per round. So that's essentially 3 resources because you don't have to spend a card out of hand, and you're reducing the cost by 2, so slightly better than what you would get with a ready, which is usually valued around 2 resources. She does have a nice beefy 4 recovery to go with her 11 hit points. Stat line mirrors T'Challa Black Panther in every way except for the attack. 6 alter ego hand size as well. So Black Panther or tech upgrade. So there's a lot of tech upgrades out there nowadays. Definitely something that we'll be looking at. Alright, where are the rest of her cards here? Okay, so they've revealed 2 of her Black Panther upgrades. Not sure how many there are. We have Kimoyo Beads, Black Panther Tech, Special, Thwart. Remove 1 threat from a scheme. You may discard this card to confuse an enemy. So it essentially gives her one extra threat on any of her basic powers. So a 3 thwart is the standout there, but we're going to talk about some other options in a little while. And then you can always discard it to confuse. So you can get a little loop with her alter ego where you discard it, maybe get it back into her deck or deck yourself out, because her alter ego does only search deck, and then you get it back into play. And it's a tech card. Okay, and then the other one that they've revealed is Spider Bites, another 2 cost upgrade. Black Panther Tech, choose a player, deal 1 damage to the villain, and each minion engage with that player. It's not an attack. You may discard this card to stun each of those enemies. So good vulnerable tech here for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box if you have a lot of vulnerable minions. And then of course it stuns the villain. So already we see stun and confuse in her kit. Now it's not as regular as someone like Miles or maybe Magic, who just get it on their events and can cycle those events. There is a little bit more to it for Shuri, so it's probably a little bit more balanced than in those heroes because you have to play the upgrade, use a basic power to trigger it, and then get the status, and then you have to cycle it back. So there's a lot of steps to getting the status that makes it feel a little bit more balanced than in past use cases. Then we've seen a couple of her events: Clawed Strike, deal 4 damage to an enemy, resolve the special ability on 1 Black Panther upgrade you control. So you get either 1 threat or 1 damage to each enemy, and then you have the option to discard them for their respective status, confuse or stun all enemies. So already we see Clawed Strike is either 4 damage plus 1 to all enemies for 2 resources, or 4 damage plus 1 threat. And I think this is like one of the things that is coolest about Shuri, which is that she has so much variability on her kickers. The fact that you can that there's variable kickers, the fact that like it really messes with the math here. Like here's her thwart events on the prowl, remove 3 threat from a scheme, and then you get to trigger the special. So it's either 3 threats plus 1 threat, so 4 threat, and that threat can be split up into packages of 3 and 1, 2 different places, or 3 threat and 1 damage to each enemy. Now, when you take a look at, like, let's say she ends up with 4 Black Panther upgrades, which I think is a pretty safe guess compared to like core set Black Panther. That means each of her events has 4 different kickers that you could potentially add onto it. And then if each of those upgrades has a discard, then you also have a second decision point on whether to discard that upgrade. So you play the event, you use the basic power, you decide which kicker you want to use, and then you decide if you want to discard that kicker or not. So you're getting a lot of different choice here. It's a very neat little mechanic. Just something to like mix up the numbers. It's not just straight 2 cost for 3 threat anymore. It's 2 cost for 4 threat. It's 2 cost for 3 threat and 1 damage to everything. I really like this design from Tony here. Alright. We also get a T'Challa ally, 4 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health, Genius and Wakanda traits. Hero response, so this does not work while she is an alter ego. After T'Challa uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on 1 Black Panther upgrade you control. Okay, so we have another variable kicker. Use your basic, decide which of the upgrades you want to trigger, and then decide if you want to discard that upgrade. So there's a branching tree going throughout Shuri's decision space here. Asia Adana, it's an upgrade. Exhaust Asia Adana, shuffle 1 identity-specific card from your discard pile into your deck. This is a trend that we've seen with a lot of Tony heroes, where they have a way to shuffle something back into their deck. This seems like it works really well with her loop. You want to discard the upgrade, shuffle it back in with Asia Adana, get it back with her alter ego ability Inventor. And then we have Vibranium. And who knows how many copies of Vibranium we'll get, but we saw this in the core set 2 Wilds. This is going to be very strong for her. The fact that you can shuffle Vibranium back in with Asia Adana competes heavily with her upgrades, but maybe on the flip down, you shuffle back in Vibranium, and then on the flip up, you shuffle back in an upgrade, exhaust to get it before you flip up, something like that. More decisions, really excellent design here. I'm going to skip ahead to the team up. So we have this team up here. 2 cost event, Heart of the Panther. Black Panther T'Challa or Black Panther Shuri. So I got some clarification from Peter, the article writer, that the slash here is in or. So this could be Black Panther with Shuri ally or Shuri alter ego, or Black Panther Shuri with T'Challa ally or T'Challa alter ego, or they can both be in hero form. So there's a lot of ways, again, branching paths that that this team up can get played. Now the player has to be in hero form because it's hero action, but then you get to search your deck and discard pile. So different than her Inventor alter ego, which only searches deck, for a Black Panther upgrade and put it into play. So you've discarded it previously, you get it right back. Then you get to resolve the special ability on up to 4 Black Panther upgrades you control in any order. It's basically an extra Wakanda Forever for core set Black Panther, and I don't think the extra cost really matters with all of his extra Vibraniums he gets, especially like once all of his upgrades are down, you can definitely get resource flooded with him. So I don't think 2 cost versus 1 cost for Wakanda Forever, that matters too much. But for Shuri, you're getting so many decisions. You get to resolve all 4 of your effects, potentially, and then each of those might also discard themselves. So there's a bunch of different permutations of what discards and what doesn't, and depending on your board state. You also get to just get a free 2 cost card, so it completely replaces itself. You spend 3 ER, whatever effective resources on this event, you get a 3 ER upgrade right back, so very neat. Wakanda traded as well. Alright, I'm going to go into some more Wakanda things. So we have the Okoye ally here. She is Dora Milaje and Wakanda traded. 4 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Response, after Okoye uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on another Dora Milaje ally. She does have a special here, so presumably we're going to get more of these allies, and when they use basic powers, they'll be able to trigger her special in return. So once that happens, we have to choose a Wakanda hero or ally that get +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. So for a 4 cost ally, and you need another ally in play to get this special, it's going to be a little bit tough. So you're going to definitely want to build into readies. If you're going to set up a 4 cost ally and another ally, you're going to want to get more than 1 use out of that boosted stats, for sure. Now here is one way to get around that. Dora Milaje, 3 cost support, Wakanda, ignore this card's resource cost if your identity has the Wakanda trait. Action, exhaust Dora Milaje, resolve the special ability on one Dora Milaje ally, and heal 1 damage from that ally. So here we can trigger Okoye's +1 without actually having another ally in play, and a 0-cost support is definitely easier to get out than an ally. Let me just check, does she have Wakanda on each side? She does have Wakanda on each side, so it doesn't matter what form you're in, unlike her ally, T'Challa, who cares about you being in hero form. I think a lot of people are going to miss this. I miss this all the time with allies like Basic Gamora and Vivian. We don't see a lot of allies with responses or actions or interrupts that are form locked, so definitely keep an eye out on that one. Okay, we got some aspect cards here too. We can talk about those briefly. Here we have Manifold, 3 cost, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health, Avenger Wakanda trait. After Manifold enters play, choose a player. That player searches their deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and adds it to their hand. Seems like you just put this in every single Justice deck. I don't really see why not, especially in multiplayer. Getting superpower training, getting build support, especially because like you might have had to pass up on one earlier. It's just you get this chain reaction of like, okay, I played Manifold, now I get build support, now I get my Golden City or what have you, whatever your key support is. It's another way to search out the things that are helping you get the things. And you can play them multiple times. So you run him with like Chance Encounter or something, and you just loop him with Chance Encounter over and over again. Now chain gets longer. Chance Encounter gets you Manifold, gets you player side scheme, gets you thing. And the fact that you can target any player is huge. If you want to target the aggression player, everybody gets a weapon out of Lock and Load or an attack event from Keep Up the Pressure. Maybe you want to target the leadership player. Now everybody gets ally off Call for Backup. This is a pretty strong card. Going to see a lot of play at Con of Heroes, I would assume. The Raft, location, shield, response, 2-cost support. After minion leaves play, tuck it under here from the encounter discard pile. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the tucked minion's printed scheme. If there are at least 4 minions here, deal 1 random minion here to any player as a face-down encounter card. So notably, this does not exhaust, so you can still use it for shield stuff like Homeland Intervention and Global Logistics. It does only count the printed scheme, and it does have to go to the discard pile. So a lot of these big Thunderbolts minions that we've been seeing that go to the victory display, these will not trigger the Raft because they don't go to the discard pile. Now it is non-elites, so I don't know if they're like, what's the biggest thwarting non-elite minion? Maybe like one of the Inheritors or something has 3 thwart. But it is optional to trigger this. So if you're sitting at 3 minions, you don't have to trigger it when you defeat the 4th one and then get another one right back. It's going to be a random one of the 4, so you're not going to be able to guarantee it. But you can combo this pretty nicely with Interrogation Room, I think, where you use the Raft. The Raft removes, let's say, 2 threat because you have a 2 scheme minion or something, and then Interrogation Room removes another one. So now that's an easy 3 threat removal, which is a key number that we like to see in solo play. If you're playing a hero like Thor, this is a nice way to tuck a minion and then you get one right back. So the thing is, you can either loop infinitely, where you defeat a minion, goes under Raft, another one comes out, defeat, goes under Raft, another one comes back out right away. But you could also just defeat one, it goes under the Raft, you get another one, and when you defeat that one, you don't trigger the response here, and then you don't get another one. And so that's one way to go about it. I think it's just really nice for a lot of heroes. Anyone who likes defeating stuff for value. So you have Rocket wants minions, you want to overkill. Ironheart can want minions for her attack event. Nova can use this for like Unleash Nova Force turns. Yeah. It might be a little bit cyclical with some of them, but I think there's some value to be had. Here, it's only 2 costs, support, you get out with build support. Looks neat. I wonder if we're going to get some more shield support for it as well. Oh, in terms of the Maria question, I don't think we run this in Maria over things like Command Team or Pericles and other things that we've seen. I'm not sure she particularly wants to be tucking minions, and it doesn't seem like she's going to have a ton of problem with thwarting either. So I don't really see this for Maria, but maybe some other heroes that get value out of defeating things. Maybe in multiplayer you combo this with like War Room. Now War Room is, an ally defeats the minion, you trigger Raft, you remove threats, and then War Room also removes more threat, this kind of thing. Okay, we have Sting Operation here, 2-cost upgrade, Preparation Tactic, max 1 per player, response. After a non-elite minion schemes, discard Sting Operation, discard that minion. I'm not super high on this card. I think it's good tech for Vulnerable because it discards instead of defeats. Good tech for any scenarios where minions have lower scheme than their attack. We just got that mod set, Crazy Gang, which they're all like 0 scheme and they do stuff if they scheme. Anywhere where you're guaranteed to be getting a minion that's going to scheme. So maybe something like you flip down in Zola where there's 3 test counters and that minion's going to scheme, or Thanos, you get a minion off the Space Stone in step 2 and that minion schemes, you discard with Sting Operation, maybe Master Mold, something like that. But it seems like very, very techy, not necessarily something I would deck build around. Invisibility Gear, 1-cost upgrade, item tech, pull it with Shopping Spree. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. When I first looked at this card, I didn't even see the guy who's like invisible here. I just saw these 2 people walking, but there is another guy here. Interrupts. When an enemy would attack you, discard Invisibility Gear. That enemy schemes instead. So, on the surface, spending 2 resources to change one type of activation into another activation isn't necessarily that great. It's also, there are certain times when an enemy can attack you in Alter Ego, but you're definitely not going to trigger this in Alter Ego very much. So where I think it does have value is to prevent a double attack in hero form. Like you're in hero, you took the first villain attack, and then you draw Assault, or you draw Gang Up. And you can, maybe you're going to lose to that Assault, but now you turn that Assault into an advance instead. And it's not like a double scheme like if you're an Alter Ego, so it's not as threatening, just a single advance, a single scheme. So this could like save your game potentially. There's heroes, Nick Fury, he might want something to scheme so that he can put threats onto his suit form. Now his suit form ability only triggers if he's under the max, so if you've already been attacked that round, or if you've already triggered his ability, then I don't think it will trigger again. If you're the first one makes you hit your max, this kind of thing. Or you know what? Does this even work with Nick Fury? Because he has to. What does the trigger on stealth suits even say? Let's go back to the news page real quick. Nick Fury. Okay, Fury on the move. Stealth suit, stealth suit. Alright, it says, when an enemy would attack you, it schemes instead. So already stealth suit is turning an attack into a scheme. So you're not even going to use this for Nick, which is quite funny. So Invisibility Gear does not work with Nick Fury. So yeah, it just seems like assault tech. If you're being assaulted against and you're not Nick Fury, and it might lose you the game, then you can turn to a scheme. Generally, dealing with 1 of each activation is easier than dealing with 2 of the same activation. So that is that. Okay. Oh wait, there's one more card here that I missed. Very strong card. 0 cost, 4 threat player side scheme, going undercover. When defeated, the defeating player looks at the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. They may add 1 non-scenario specific card from among those to the victory display. Then place the rest on the top and or bottom of the encounter deck in any order. There are a bunch of heroes with scry abilities that can set this up so that you just get rid of the thing that you want. Generally, because it's not scenario specific, you're going to want to add something from a standard or expert set or a mod set, but primarily the expert and standard set. So I'm talking Under Fire, I'm talking Advance, I'm talking Gang Up, whichever one of those you see, it is only going to search 5. If you hit all scenario-specific cards, you're SOL. Sorry, but but there's a lot of ways to set this up. Remy LeBeau, Sector Scan, Global Logistics. It's kind of its own Global Logistics. But after you get to remove that card from the game, essentially it goes to the victory display. You get to then order the deck however you want. So you can put some of the cards on the bottom, put some of the cards on the top, in any order. This is You get like a bonus global logistics at the end of doing this thing. Seems very like I'm not sure how many decks wouldn't include this really. There's two very generic player side schemes in Justice. You have Generation X, which tutors you an event, an identity-specific event to be exact, and then you have Going Undercover, which is getting rid of one of the maybe worst threats in the game, especially if you're like at the end of the deck and you haven't seen that second advanced copy or something. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think what other effects. I'm sure there's something that's like, you know, when this thing is defeated, put it on top of the deck. I mean, oh, you could do Nemesis sets are not scenario specific, so Nemesis cards that have been shuffled in. Yeah, it just seems very strong. Fourth threat is a little bit difficult to clear, but not for Justice. Not for Justice. Get it? Okay. Anyways, here is our tabletop simulator deck building. We've got some aspects for Shuri all lined up here. Let's go to Justice. So Sonic Rifle is a tech, so you can grab it with her alter ego. It gives you a confuse, so you don't have to pop Kimoyo beads if you don't want to, and you can just keep grabbing it out of the deck every time it gets shuffled back in. So Sonic Rifle, very good for her. Skilled Investigator goes in everything. Chance Encounter, grabs her at Koye, grabs her at T'Challa. She's not going to have a lot of trouble dealing with player side schemes with her 2+1 thwart from the Kimoyo beads. Generation X gets you one of your very, very flexible events on the Prowl or Clawed Strike. Yeah, if she gets like any other events that we might want to look at, definitely can grab those as well. But Cloud Strike on the Prowl with their very flexible kickers, you can get exactly what you want in the situation, one way or another. Card draw in a hero with Vibranium, no brainer. You're going to draw into that Vibranium more and more. If you have like in-kit doubles, one way or another is just much stronger for your hero because the card draw is going to be more than 3 resources on average. You're going to be drawing maybe 4 resources and 3 cards, this kind of thing. Upside the head, any hero that has readies, you're going to be basic activating a lot. After your hero makes a basic attack, damages an enemy, confuse that enemy. So confuse the villain, but the villain might already be confused with Sonic Rifle or Kimoyo beads, so you're going to get a stun instead. And one of the nice things about the way her basic power works, and her events really, is that it minimizes the downsides of using a basic power, especially against the villain. Because like you might be like, oh, I'm wasting my basic because I'm not going to affect the board state, but you can actually use her basic to trigger one of her specials, so you're still hitting something else at the same time. So you basic attack the villain, but you trigger Kimoyo beads or you trigger spider bites, and now you're dealing with other stuff as well. Justice served, it's the ready in Justice, so yeah, it's gotta go in her. You basic thwart, you clear a scheme, you trigger Justice served, you trigger one of her specials, you ready, you get another basic, you get another special. Very just clean cut here, I think, for Justice. Let's flip over to Aggression, which is, I think, maybe one of the more unique avenues here for her. Now, you might think with her one attack, maybe basic attacking isn't that powerful, and like maybe you should go attack event routes because you're not going to be able to rely on your basic. Although, like, who knows if she gets something like, you know, of course that Black Panther has like a big chunk Panther's Claws that does 4 damage. If she gets something like that, not going to be as much of a problem. But Hand Cannon is tech, so you can get it off of Inventor, and it is 2 costs, so it's going to come right into play, and this fixes her attack issue quite a bit. You can also use Surprise Move, which is surprise, surprise, a ready, and then we also get Suppressing Fire here. So a surprise move on an enemy with Suppressing Fire, you use Hand Cannon, you defeat that enemy, and then you ready. And you're going to get 2 pings, one from the first attack that defeated an enemy, and then 1 ping from, or 1 special from the second one after you're ready. Blood Rage gives you card draw. Card draw, as we talked about with One Way or Another, and Hall of Heroes, also card draw, is going to be very good for any hero that has Vibranium in kit. Battle Fury, more readies, so we've got Surprise Move, we've got Battle Fury as our readies. Both of these deal damage, which is offset by Suppressing Fire, or maybe she'll have like something like the heal option that Corset Black Panther has, whatever his Vibranium Suit or something that moves the damage from her to something else. But Suppressing Fire is here to get surprise move off. Lock and Load. I don't think the beads or the bites were a weapon. I think they're just Black Panther tech. But if she gets like something like Corset Black Panther did with an in-kit weapon, Lock and Load searches that, or it searches Hand Cannon. Keep up the pressure. This gets you your Clawed Strike. Very flexible event because you have a bunch of different options for the kickers. Okay, I've got some face down cards here that these are the alternatives to Suppressing Fire, and I don't think they're that good. Marked, don't need it because of Hand Cannon. And Gatekeeper, I think that +2 hit points here is going to be a little bit more bothersome for Shuri than in other heroes because she does only have that one base starting attack. So I don't really want to give too many things extra hit points, and that's why we're going with Suppressing Fire instead. Alright, let's go over here to Leadership. I think Leadership, there's a lot of good stuff here. The main thing being Sidekick with her T'Challa ally. So he gets +2 health, he heals when you make a basic recovery, and then you can Side by Side, which is your ready. So you get Side by Side along with, where is Okoye in here? So Okoye is giving you +1/+1, Side by Side is giving you +1/+1, and then you're off to the races with T'Challa and Shuri, making a bunch of different basic activations. Also in here, I think, is MedLab, because Shuri is a genius. This means she gets Moon Girl access, and Moon Girl works really well with MedLab. You store her so that she's an alter ego. You shuffle your Vibranium back into the deck with Asia Adana here, and then every time you flip to alter ego, you can play a Moon Girl with Ingenuity and Vibranium. Draw 3, she comes into play exhausted. You can either ready her with Command Team, or the other little tech I've noted here is You Got This. So even if Moon Girl is exhausted, let's say you play her as you flip up, maybe one of the cards she draws you is You Got This, and you can have Shuri, make a basic power, discard Moon Girl, add the basic power to Shuri's, and then ready. And you're going to get 2 of your upgrade pings with this nice little combo here. Suit Up is here because you can search out T'Challa, it can search out Okoye, it can search out Moon Girl. We got White Tiger here from our card draw. And then our upgrades to search with Suit Up are Clarity of Purpose and Sidekick. If she does get some synergy with self-damage because she has self-heal, Clarity works out really nicely. You can also just put it on Moon Girl, who comes into play exhausted, spend Clarity of Purpose, deal Moon Girl a damage, and then get You Got This off of that. Probably very rare that you actually do that, but it is an option. Mission Leader, card draw is very good for Vibranium heroes. Call for Backup grabs you T'Challa or Okoye in particular. Moon Girl and White Tiger are play from hand, so they're a little bit less Call for Backup friendly, but these are both big 4-cost allies, so Call for Backup comes in handy there. Okay, I think that was the gist with Leadership. Let's move over here to Protection and flip these face down here. So Protection, surprise, surprise, I think the main thing here is Repurpose. You have Repurpose, Energy Barrier, Plasma Pistol. These are both 2-cost tech upgrades that she can get with her Inventor ability. All of her Black Panther that we've seen so far is also tech. Repurpose is a ready. What doesn't kill me is a ready. More readies equal more pings from her upgrades. We have the Night Nurse as some status protection, because if she is statused, then she is not considered to have made a basic or used a basic power, and we won't get the trigger from her ability. So we need Night Nurse here to remove any status from her so that we can play her events and get their specials, or use her hero ability. Let's actually move these cards over. There we go. Because I think Protection is one of the more interesting ones for her. And one of the things here is that it says after she uses a basic power. That includes basic defending. That means we can trigger any of her upgrades in the villain phase, which is huge, 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 huge. This means that Kimoyo Beads, where is that? Not there, not there. So we got Kimoyo Beads is essentially like a hard to ignore that can remove threat from any scheme and doesn't require you to block all damage. We have Spider Bites, which can deal damage to everything and also stun everything, confuse in the villain phase. So these are both triggerable in the villain phase if you basic defend. So that means Change of Fortune comes into play with Spider Bites. Anytime you basic defend, you trigger Spider Bites, kill a minion, and then you draw 2 with Change of Fortune. Now, one of the things that I don't necessarily like about Change of Fortune and other heroes is that when you're using something, like when you're basic defending a minion to trigger Change of Fortune in some way, like through Retaliate or Electrostatic Armor, or maybe you're using Powerful Punch, you're not answering the villain's attack, so you're still being attacked by the villain. But the advantage here is that Shuri can answer the villain attack with a defense, and then take care of the minion before it activates with Change of Fortune. That's super cool to me, that she can do that. So, and we're not slotting in Unflappable because she's not blocking all the damage. We're not even really trying to, but we're slotting in Indomitable and Change of Fortune here, just because I think this is like a really solid path. Some other options here in Protection, there is Anticipation and Come Get Me Bub, so this was another way to ready. It is going to get you a minion in the meantime. We haven't seen any Tufts in her kit, so this could be very unique. I just think it's a little bit easier to go with the basic defend route and ready off Indomitable than going Anticipation and Come Get Me Bub. Render Medical Aid, healing your Dora Milaje allies and T'Challa, or potentially herself. This seems quite strong. Angel is airy, especially with this basic defending path. I think is quite good because you can basic defend, trigger Kimoyo Beads, flip down, and then you heal back to full with Angel's Airy. Rogue is anytime a hero comes up, you gotta look at Rogue because she's so strong. But if we do get any self-healing in her kits, then I think Rogue, just like Clarity of Purpose, just like Blood Rage, is going to have some level of synergy for her. I think this basic defending playline is valid for all of her decks. I think you can basic defend in Justice, trigger her upgrades. You can basic defend in Aggression, trigger her upgrades. You can basic defend in Leadership, trigger her upgrades. It doesn't seem like she's going to need chump blocking too much. She does have status with Confuse and Stunning, so that means she's going to be flipping to Alter Ego. It means the villain's going to be stunned occasionally. And if you basic defend, you get to keep your big beefy Dora Milaje and T'Challa allies out into play. So I think this is maybe one of the better play lines with her. Alright, the basics up here. We'll talk about the ones I'm like not so sure on. Avengers Mansion, she's got Vibranium, card draw is good, said it already. Symbiote Suit. All these decks are building in readies. The thing that holds me back is she doesn't have any ready in her own kit. This might be like a pool thing. I realize we didn't talk about pool, but in pool, the biggest thing for her is going to be either flipping with Not My Responsibility or stick-to-itiveness. Getting it ready every single turn, you're getting a minimum of 2 specials every turn. And I think once you have stick-to-itiveness now, Symbiote Suit becomes a little bit easier to swallow. And then Cell Phone, unfortunately not a tech for her, but sometimes it could be like Flex, give you an extra thwart, give you an extra attack, but you're typically getting the flexing there from her upgrade specials instead. Now the basics I think that are going to go in all of her decks, besides the Dora Milaje, are going to be these cards here. You have the Genius cards, Ingenuity. You play an Alter Ego, you get a permanent mental resource. No reason to use Gemma Simmons to play out techs here because you're a genius. Moon Girl, draw cards. Draw cards. Yeah, we have not seen her Nemesis, but Face the Past is a ready that's available in any aspect. And the neat thing is, Spider Bites is not an attack, so you can still damage the villain with Spider Bites. You can still damage the villain with T'Challa's special or T'Challa himself, because it doesn't prevent allies from attacking. You could boost T'Challa up with Okoye's special and attack with him. So Face the Past, the downside, it seems pretty mitigated in her. Card draw is really good when you have Vibraniums in your deck, and the ready is really good to trigger more specials. Seems like a no-brainer. Specialized training is here. Any hero that is going to be based around basic powers is going to want specialized training. The card draw is doubly good for a hero with a basic double, or one that's consistently adding cards back into their deck with Asia Adana. Superpower training, you can get either Asia Adana or your 2-cost Black Panther upgrade, so lots of different ways to get those out, cycle them very fast with her Inventor, with Superpower training, with Heart of the Panther, and then we have Ready to Rumble, because her Alter Ego ability, where'd you go? Her Alter Ego ability does exhaust her, so you have to exhaust her we flip back up, we get ready to rumble. If you're doing the whole sidekick thing, you can recover for 4, that's going to heal T'Challa, and then you can flip back up and ready to rumble there as well. So I think this is these are going to be the basic cards that you look at for every single Shuri deck. I like the Change of Fortune slotting into Repurpose here. It's like a nice little mix between 2 decks. MedLab slotting into a Sidekick deck, also kind of cool. Just using it to draw cards with Moon Girl and then pitch Moon Girl to You Got This. If you do that, you don't get her back under MedLab, but you know, it is what it is. We can also just grab White Tiger with Suit Up, play White Tiger, she draws into You Got This, you activate White Tiger, and then you use You Got This, you get the ready there. And then her aggression deck, which was probably the harder one to think of, adding the hand cannons to a 1-attack hero doesn't seem like it makes too much sense, but I think this all follows once you see that surprise move is already, hand cannon is a tech, and then these all even each other out. And then her Justice is probably the most straightforward. You get Sonic Rifles off of Inventory, you ready off of Justice Served, and then you add things that give her extra cards, extra tutoring, and some extra status. And that is it with Shuri. I think she looks like a very well-designed hero. I'm very excited to play her and try her. And I think Tony's done a great job here once again. So good job to Fantasy Flight Games and the team over there. And hope you guys enjoyed this return. I have no idea when I'm going to start uploading regularly again. So many decks that I've been meaning to try and record and get to you guys, but I've just been really busy, so hope you forgive me and hope you enjoyed this video.